Okay. Okay. On this first one, where do you see it crosses the x-axis? At 4, right? Okay. Do you see anywhere in the equation 4 being represented? Where? Okay, so in the top, right? All right, on this next one, where does it cross the x-axis? -2 and +3. Where do you see that represented? In the top. All right, next one. Where does it cross the x-axis? At 5, right? Okay. Now, one thing that you would notice up here at the equation is that these two would cancel, and we're left over with x minus 5 in the top. So where do x-intercepts come from in our equation? The top. Okay, so x-intercepts come from the top in the equation. I fill this paper, horizontal asymptotes and zeros. Horizontal asymptotes and zeros. Horizontal asymptotes and zeros. So last week on Dragon Ball Z, we learned about vertical asymptotes, and then we learned about poles in the graph. So today we're learning about the horizontal asymptote. The horizontal asymptote is going to be the ratio of the leading coefficients of the numerator and the denominator if the degrees are equal. Okay, so you're writing down everything in the pink. So the question becomes, all right, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? The question becomes, how do we make these degrees equal? Okay, so like if I have something like this, how do we make these equal? Well, if we add a term so that the degrees become equal, what should the coefficient of that term be? So if we had something like this, we would want the bottom to have a degree of 3 as well, right? So I could add a 0 next to the third. Now we have the degrees are the same. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's go ahead and put this into practice. So go ahead and take a moment, write down these 3 and leave some space underneath for them. Okay, go ahead and take a second, write those 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your highest degrees. Okay, so normally that's going to be in the front, right? But sometimes they like to act crazy and put it somewhere else. But we see that we've got 2x to the squared over here. X squared right here. What's the coefficient of this guy in the bottom of this x squared? 1, right? Are the degrees the same? They both have x squared, right? Okay, so now we're just going to take the coefficients and divide them. What's 2 divided by 1? 2. We're going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. That's it. If the degrees are the same, it's really easy. So I took the highest degree, and since they're the same, I'm just going to divide the coefficient. Okay. Okay. Now on the next one, what is the highest degree coefficient? All right. What's the highest degree coefficient in the top? 1. Well, 3x to the first. And then what's the degree in the bottom? 2x to the second. So these are not the same. Okay, so this one in the bottom is higher, right? Okay, that means that we're going to add a 0x squared in the top. Okay, so now they're the same degrees, so now we can divide. So what is 0 divided by 2? 0, right? So that's going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. In this one, yeah, whatever the degree is, you're going to have a 0x, whatever the number is. Okay. Here's the one that everybody gets confused. Are you ready? This is the one that everybody messes up on. Okay. So looking at this one, we've got 2x to the third and we got 4x squared. Okay, they're obviously not the same degree, right? Okay, so which one's bigger, the top or the bottom? Top. So we need to add a 0x to the third in the bottom. So now we're going to take 2 and divide it by 0. However, when you type that into your calculator, you're going to get error or undefined. So there is going to be no horizontal asymptote. No ha. No laughing. Of these. Okay, so here they are again. On the first one, we got y equals 2. On the second one, we got y equals 0. And on that third one, we got none, right? Okay, so look at what the graphs do. Horizontal is sideways, right? The horizon is like this, okay? Vertical is up and down, okay? When you talk about your vertical, that means you're jumping, right? That's the way to remember it. So we see at y equals 2, right here, the graph is approaching but never touching, okay? Over here, we have y equals 0, okay? Again, approaching but never touching. On this one, you see where this graph is a little crazy? And there's like no break in the graph. So we have none, right? Okay, now let's talk about their in behavior. And you're going to want to write this down on your paper. So on our first one, as x is approaching positive infinity, y is approaching 2. As x is approaching negative infinity, y is also approaching 2. Okay, on the second one, we have as x is approaching positive infinity, y is approaching 0. And this one, it kind of depends on where you're looking at, but since we're looking at in behavior, that's how this is going. Same thing on the left-hand side. But on the last one, we have as x is approaching positive infinity, y is also approaching positive infinity because it's going up. As x is going to the left, y is also going down. Okay, again, you're writing that in behavior on your paper.